Okay, you guys, let's do this. It's going to be so professional. Like, so professional. Here we go. Well, welcome to the Live Support Podcast with your hosts, Michele and June and June Colson, a couple of clean comedians who support each other and others through comedy's wacky and winding roads. I hope you're ready. Get set. Let's go. Since podcasts have a catchy tune, we wrote this song for Michele and June. Clean comedians are best friends too. Oh, so good. And you never know what they'll say or do. Here we go, sing with me on Live Support, with Michele, who's really short. We'll have a ball, with June, who's really tall. They have fun, interviewing comedians on Live Support, with Michele, who's really short. Now it's time to start Live Support.
The Live Support Podcast is brought to you by the Hot Breath Comedy Network.
Wow, give yourself a round of applause.
Hello, and welcome to the Live Support Podcast.
Jude, what is the deal with the red hat? What are you doing?
I heard we had a dress code for this episode.
Oh, yes.
So,
that's right.
No,
we do. Black tie, but that's a red hat. Little different.
Isn't that part of the fanciness? Isn't that part of the... No? Is this not... I was working really hard on getting my outfit changed, and I got the armpit string hanging out, the dogs in the back. For those of you who, first of all, let me welcome you. Welcome to the Live Support Podcast, the award-winning podcast. I'm your host, June Colson, here with my best friend, Michele. I don't know why I'm speaking like this, because I have a ball gown on. Michele with a 1L, VanDusen, and Michele, as we were getting started, she said our guest had asked earlier, is there a dress code for the podcast? You know,
Yep.
and so you said black tie, and I thought we should get our fancy pants on. So I'm right now. June is wearing a gray dress that her cousin gave her. I've got sequins on my shoulder, some sequins earrings. And I think this is like a little Matilda hat from the 1800s. I'm not sure. So, and Michele, that's more like a priest collar. Michele just put her priest collar on. So, but now I'm like, I don't know if this is appropriate. It's a clean comedy podcast. I don't have what it takes to keep this together, if you know what I'm saying. It's gloves.
This is a sock that is cut off. So now it looks like I've been injured.
Oh my goodness, Michele. Michele, I have so many different hats I could wear, though. I could. I've got so many.
Yeah,
hats.
you could. You have a lot of.
You know what else I could just put on my when we interviewed Sally.
There you go. And that now goes with the
I could
voice.
wear the tiara. But okay, and then I was carrying boxes and I have bruises on my arms. So
you have arms
bruises on my arm. That's nothing says fancy like bruises. So
do you see this? See, it looks like a piercing. See that?
Oh, Michele, it looks like a hickey from here. This is
no.
It's a clean comedy podcast.
It's a hole in my neck. No, it's a hole. It's a tiny, tiny little hole that was created by a kitten's foot. The kitten's claw.
Is this Mr. Fox?
Yes.
So you love that cat. You love that cat.
No,
yes, you do.
No. Mr. Fox was playing nicely on the floor, on the ground, and he decided he wanted to be higher, taller. So he just jumps up on me and starts to climb, but his little claw got stuck. I had to pull it out. And I'm like, huh. So, of course, all good wound care people know you got to make sure that it bleeds if you ever have puncture. If you get a puncture wound, you got to make sure it bleeds so that the stuff doesn't stay in you. It's got to come out.
What?
So,
okay, first of all, never take advice from a couple of chicks doing a podcast called Laugh Support. It ain't life support. And I've lived with EMTs and paramedics my whole life, and I've never heard them say, dude, if you got a wound, just let her bleed. Let her bleed.
No, because sometimes you get punctures and they don't bleed. And that's when you get the major issues with infections and things like that. So it has to bleed a little bit.
Okay.
So I had to make sure that it was going to bleed, because cats' feet are filthy. So I don't care.
Feet.
Yeah, they
They
got
have
dirty,
dirty little feet. But
And
again,
it was
friends, just make
tough. It
sure
was
that you
awful.
go with, WebMD or something before you. Not Michelle and
No,
June's
go to the emergency room.
medical
Anyway,
advice.
so I have a puncture wound in my neck.
I
This
can't
is
get
this
over
is
this string under my armpit.
you gotta you gotta. Oh my gosh, yeah, that's.
Did I describe what I'm wearing again, folks? June's in a ball gown with a tiara, some glitter on her shoulders, some glitter earrings, because I heard black tie affair, and I haven't got to wear a ball gown since
Well,
I
I
don't know when.
brought the White House. I brought the White
Yes.
House to show black tie.
Do I look
fancy
Do I
stuff.
look fancy enough to go to a soiree at I don't even know what that word means, at the White House? That just seems like a fancy word.
You may look fancy.
Mhm.
I was just, you know what? You're missing one thing for your fancy outfit. If you don't talk while you're there, they won't know you're from Kentucky. No, I'm just joking.
Well, what's wrong with being from Kentucky? They can let hillbillies. They can the last thing that's gonna be a problem at the White House is a hillbilly. Okay, like I'm not a political person, but I feel like maybe they need a few hillbillies up there. We might get some things straightened out.
I apologize. Kentuckians are just as smart as the rest of us.
We've got them there learnings just like everybody else does. Look, I want to show you my fancy shoes though, because if you're wearing a ball gown, you got to wear sweatpants and some. These are my husband's new tennis shoes. Don't tell him I'm wearing them.
They got pink on them.
We wear
Those
the
are not
same.
his.
No, they're orange. They just look pink in there. They're
They
orange.
look pink.
Yeah,
I'm
we wear the
claiming them
same
as
size shoe. And so when he gets new tennis shoes, I steal his running shoes. But he's real supportive of this podcast. He'll never watch this episode, so it doesn't even matter. Like I could be wearing his suit right now. He's never going to see it. He loves me. He loves me. Okay, Michelle, real quick before we get started. We talked about my mama who passed away. We're going through all the stuff at her house, and she collected everything. She collected so many things. You never know what you're gonna find. And the other night, my son. Okay, first I'll show you this. You're gonna love this.
Okay, this is a big.
Okay, so I found this the other day that you're gonna love. You're gonna be so jealous. No, you can't have it because it's going on my table behind me. Look.
Okay.
Dun, 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 dun. It's a Miss Piggy mug.
Oh, so
Look
cool.
at her. Oh,
So
look at her.
cool. Okay, I'm gonna put you solo there. Oh my gosh.
Isn't she
look
cool?
At that. Look
You
at
can see in the
that.
background my Fozzie picture, and I've got my little Fozzie Bear Lego that Michelle gave me, and now I have a Miss Piggy mug.
I
love her. I love her.
I love it. I love
that
it. That's
cool?
fantastic.
Okay,
I have
and
a Miss
then-
Piggy Lego that I'll just put over here by the White House now.
So what I was holding up for those who are listening and not watching us, it's a coffee mug, but it's smaller than a regular coffee mug, and it's Miss Piggy's face, and she's got a cute little hat on and all of that. Okay, so I was like, oh, okay, Miss Piggy's coming home with me. But then at 1 o'clock
there's
in the
more?
morning, yes, at 1 o'clock in the morning,
Okay.
my son is leaned over my bed, and I hear, Mom, psst, Mom, hey, Mom, is this Little Bear? And I opened my eyes. Little Bear was my mom and dad's dog. Okay, Little Bear was Little Bear was a long-haired Chihuahua. He passed away about a month before Mom passed away, and he was everything to my mom. Mom just loved Little Bear. And I hear, "Is this Little Bear? Is this Little Bear?" Which is a dead dog. So I'm afraid to open my eyes. But I do, and he's hanging this over my face. Okay. Do you see?
That's socks? Those are socks.
It's socks. It's
with
these
the dog's
stretchy
face.
pantyhose type material socks with my mom's dog's face on it. And
so that is Little Bear. I love it.
It is Little Bear. He goes,
Aw.
Why? Why do you have socks with Mom's dead dog on it? Or Mo's dead dog on it? And I was like, oh, buddy, so we were cleaning out, and my dad finds these. This was a Christmas gift that Bobby Joe, my sister, gave to my mom. And
I love it.
And so they had never been used. They were in this little package because Mom she couldn't wear them, but it was just a sweet little gift that my sister gave. And my dad goes, "Hey, June Buggy, why don't you take the Little Bear socks and wear it to one of your comedy skits?"
Yes. You should do
Like,
that.
like, yes, Dad, that'd be great. But Bobby Joe bought the little bear socks. You should give the little bear socks to Bobby Joe. And he goes, oh, well, why don't you take them home and you give them to her later? Bobby won't take the
Regift it?
little bear
Nice.
socks. She's not going to take the little bear socks. So at some point in one of my cute little comedy sketches, this winter, while I'm wearing long jeans and a pair of boots, I'm going to wear the little bear socks. But 1 a.m., my poor confused child was like, you have dead dog socks. You completely lost it. But look at me,
At
Michelle.
1 a.m.
Clearly I'm sane. Clearly I've got my life together. Don't you think?
Yep. You totally do. You
I
are
do.
you're
Well-
so together, and it's amazing how comedy has just you know what? Actually, it's great that you don't have your life together, because that's why you're so funny. And
think
that is
so?
why I'm not. So we
Yes.
get it. I'm
Yes.
together, you're no.
Nope. It's a
I'm
balance. It's a
lying.
balance. Yes.
It's a balance. It's a balance.
Yes. Most of my friends were blondes growing up, and but I would make a joke because we had this friend named Christy who was a brunette, and so she stood out in the group because it was one brunette and a bunch of blondes, and I'm like, we all have to travel with one brunette so that we don't
So
get
you don't
lost
get
or
pulled over?
confused. Yes, we got to have the
Don't get lost
brunette
and
with us.
confused.
We got to have somebody who's stable. I had somebody one time really get on to me because I did a blonde. I told a blonde joke about myself.
All your jokes are blonde jokes.
You think so? Well, because I'm a blonde
You're a
telling
blonde.
jokes. But they were like, do you know what that's doing to the blonde population? Like, no, I don't.
know. They don't know, so it's okay.
I don't. And I don't care.
It's fine. They don't know. They don't get it. They don't
Jeez.
get it.
Geez, I should be able to tell a joke about my roots. But anyway, okay. So speaking of roots, I don't know how that's a lead into
I was thinking
anything.
brunettes. Thinking brunettes.
Okay,
with
our
that one.
guest has Italian roots. Maybe there we go. I knew what I was doing here.
Hey.
Hey, and hopefully she, because you clearly didn't adhere to the black tie attire, Michelle. Oh, here she goes again. Okay, she's putting on a black tie. It's a sock, friends. It's just a cut up sock. It's not real, but that's okay. You do you, boo. You do you. All right, so we're going to welcome our guest, Michelle, now that you're properly attired. Tell us who is on Laugh Support today.
Our guest is a comedian, speaker, storyteller, producer for over 30 years. She's performed at churches, corporate venues, nonprofits. She does keynote speaking from large theaters to small venues, back to the large ones again. She's hilarious, witty, a character of all characters, and we are super blessed to have her on as a guest on the Laugh Support podcast. Let's welcome Mary Ellen DePetrillo.
Hello.
Not to mention cat trainer.
Oh, and cat trainer.
There's a kitty. Mary Ellen came on with an extra guest for us. Who have you got there with you, Mary Ellen?
Tigger. She must like your voice because she's been, the minute you guys came on, she came running out.
Michelle, listen, Michelle has a new kitten in her life. And his name is Mr. Fox, and we believe that he has some kind of psychic ability. So he may be calling cats from all over the world to attack you, Michelle. Tigger is now on board. Tigger's like, I'm looking, I'm watching, I know she's here. I don't know
You
why.
have no
Tigger's
idea
knows, but-
how many times I've gone to places, like I've gone to a retreat out in the woods. There's 15 other cars there. My car, the cat is sitting on.
Yeah.
Yes.
Why? I went to pick my husband up from his work one time, and I sit there and I'm waiting for him to come out. I look in my rearview mirror and I see this cat crossing the street behind us. Okay, no big deal. And then now the cat's on my car. I'm like, where's this cat? So I roll my windows back up because I'm like, I'm afraid. I'm very, very afraid. Cats must know that. They just like, oh, we like you.
She's all over the place. Turn around. You gotta be polite. You gotta be polite.
That cat just showed us it's hind end, Michelle. That's how much they
That's
love
it.
you.
Black tie's coming off.
So, Mary Ellen, where's your ball gown?
I didn't know I was wearing a ball gown. I'm sorry. Yes.
Michelle said she told you black tie. So I thought just me? No?
You really said,
Yep.
did you actually read that was that in the instructions? Because if you write something that's longer than a bumper sticker for me, I go off in a different direction and I don't read it.
Yes.
Yeah.
There was there was no, she said that we were talking today about who was on the show, and she said, she had talked to you a little bit, told you that that the dress code was black tie today. And I was
She
like,
did say that. I
yes,
just didn't believe her.
but of course she was kidding. I just took it and ran with it. I was like, oh, well,
I wish I knew. I would have came out. I have a beautiful, dress I could have worn. But I'm in Southern Florida black tie. Actually, Nature's Coast black tie, this is it.
She is wearing the black tie. She is wearing the black tie. Well, Mary Ellen,
we're overdressed.
We are so excited to have you on Laugh Support today. We're so glad that you got to be here with us. Michelle and I just recently had an opportunity to do a show with Mary Ellen in Indiana. Connected to, have we mentioned,
she's so
Rhonda
funny.
Corey on this episode? The Rhonda Corey, Rhode Island, Rhonda Corey. If we haven't
Mary
mentioned
Ellen's
her
from
name,
Rhode Island too, right?
we tried really hard to mention Rhonda Corey, and then
Rhonda
Michelle,
Corey.
Michelle's sister, Trish. Michelle has
Trisha Boyd.
Trisha,
Trisha.
yes.
Patricia
Well, I call her
Boyd.
Trish because we're super tight.
Trish.
Me and Trish are.
It's Trish.
But Rhonda Corey was our connection to you, and man, we had such a good time doing a show with you in Westfield, Indiana. You are a rock star. Your physical comedy was absolutely amazing. At the end of the show, we've talked about my cousin Dina on here before. My cousin Dina, it was the very first time that Dina had been to a comedy show. And at the end of the show, she was like, that Mary Ellen
Thank you.
was my absolute favorite. She was like, oh my gosh, she had such a good time. Now, and just a reminder to our guests, my cousin Dina, she's blind. Her and a few of her friends had to secure transportation, which is very costly for them to be able to travel. And they spent their hard-earned money to get to this comedy show, and they were absolutely blessed. And you ended up being, even though Michelle is one of her favorites now, my family ends up loving other people more than me. That's okay. But she had such a great time with you. And we know that you and that Rhonda have been friends through the comedy scene in Rhode Island. But what we'd love to do is kind of talk about, just backing up to the beginning, Mary Ellen, when you began comedy, and who was there for you as you started this crazy journey into laughter.
Thank you for having me. First of all, I'm so excited to be here. Well, for me, we got to go way back, way back, because I started in 1985. I actually started at the Comedy Showcase in Houston, Texas, with the encouragement from my pastor at Clear Lake United Methodist Church, because I was funny. We were in a singles group called Club Uno. It met every single Friday night. It was from 18 to 80 single people, and my job was assimilation. So I would introduce all the new people coming into the group. We would have about, not kidding, 100 people meet every Friday night. And I would get up and introduce all the new people, and I was funny. And then we went on a Christian retreat, a singles retreat, and I found myself standing on a tree stump, and Reverend Martha was watching me, and they were all around me, and I was just talking about being single and being a Christian, and it was funny. And she came into the office, a couple Sundays, weeks later. She said, why don't you do this? And I said, I don't even know where to go. Mm-hmm. And that was the end of it. And then I went on a date, and he took me to a comedy club, and I went in the green room. Thea Vidal was on stage right after the show was over. I went in the green room. I was like, wow, I can do this. I know I can do this. And I signed up, and my first time on stage was August 6, 1985.
Wow.
And so the first person that encouraged me was Reverend Martha Gerling, who said to me, I don't ever want to be embarrassed seeing you on TV. I want you to know where it came from, and I want you to be aware that you are not to be mean and ugly on stage. So I always like to be pretty. So I took it that she said I always look nice. But And I started, and she was my first person. And then from Houston, Danny Martinez was the owner of the club. He was very, very encouraging. He was so good for me. And he too said, you're a petite little woman. You can't swear. And I didn't. And then I moved to Boston. And in Boston was a whole different world, because I went from little Houston, Texas to Boston, Massachusetts. And of course, when I got there about a year later, and I lied to them and told them I was a middle, and I wasn't. I was barely an opener.
Ah.
But, oh yeah, 'cause, you know, they didn't have internet back then. No one knew, and no one could check. And I started doing it. And at that time, a person that was really such a mentor to me was Frank Sonarelli. He actually is a national headliner today. He was
so
in
good.
the movie. I'm blanking, but The Sopranos. He was in The Sopranos. I think he was in The Sopranos, and to this day I hold it. So we met in Boston. I was at Nick's. He saw me at Nick's, and he said, "Come on, get in the car. I'm going to take you around Boston." And we drove to Stevie D's, which was another big club in Boston. It was a November night. It was chilly, and we pulled up into the parking lot. And he put the car in park, and he turned and he said, "Keep your mouth shut. Let your act do the talking for you. Don't tell anyone who you are or how good you are. Do you get it?" I go, "Yes." And we got out of the car. I went up on. He said, "She's new. Put her on." And I went on stage, got off stage, and Stevie D goes, "Okay, we're gonna work you." And I cherish that, and I still do. I still try to keep my mouth shut and let my act do the talking for me. Then I stopped. I got married and I stopped doing comedy, and I didn't go back for about 10 years. So it was like I had two different lives as a comic, and going back the second time was so much harder because I already knew about the stand-up. I was so afraid that I wasn't going to be funny. I was really, everybody else had moved on, and, the world changed. It's comedy. And so going back a second time, starting to work back in Boston, and I went through Toastmasters. At that time, Darren LaCroix, who had won the Toastmasters International World Champion of Public Speaking in 2001, I met up with him because they remembered me when I was a headliner. He was an opening act, and now he's a national top speaker. He won a world award, and we ended up meeting up. And he kind of pulled me back up the ranks again. And I left again. I've had more comebacks. Yeah. And then I found the Christian Comics Association, and I came back in. And ironically, Rhonda Corey, I met her at the Christian Comics Association. And she's like, "You're from Rhode Island?" And I said, "I'm from Rhode Island." And we met. And I got to tell you, this time around, she's been a major, makes me huge support for me. Like someone that I can call and go, "Wow, I'm struggling."
Yeah.
And Rhode Island. And then I moved to Florida. So right now, I got to honestly say, I don't have a life support in Florida other than the life support like you and Michelle and Rhonda, who through Zoom and stuff like this. But here physically in Florida right now, because I've only been here since November, so it's me. And Jesus, literally. I mean, prayer, lots of doors have been opened, but still I don't have that person that you show up at a club with or hang out with or go to lunch with.
Yeah. That's a whole different situation. Okay. So I want to back up a little bit and then we'll come back to that. So you said, you lied and said you were a middle.
Yes.
Yes.
I'm
a middle child. So I can always say that and get away with it and not, I'm a middle child. I have a younger brother and a younger sister and an older sister. I'm a middle child. But now I'm guessing because you produce shows, I am guessing that you can feel that out when you have somebody who's coming to you and telling you, I'm a headliner. I've got 7 hours of solid material. Like being that person who was in that, is that been a benefit to you to be able to feel that out?
Absolutely. Well, today it's so different because you have video and stuff. And I had a comic say that to me. He called me up and said, well, how much time you have? I go, oh, I can do 2 hours. I said, where are you doing 2 hours? Where? Tell me what club is putting you up for 2 hours. And then I always say, how much clean time do you have? And then they go, oh, clean, huh? I said, yeah, clean. But yeah, you can sniff them out. And then sometimes, though, I've been burnt. I put someone on stage, and then all of a sudden I'm looking and going, all right, 10 minutes into it, and they can't do it anymore. They don't have the time.
Yeah. Yeah. Go ahead, Michelle.
I was gonna say, when you said when the response was 2 hours, you're like, "Where are you doing 2 hours?" And all I thought was, well, Rhonda Corey just got herself a microphone, so she's been doing time in her living room, in the car, in her backyard. So
I left her voicemail going, just laughing, going, the cat's waving her tail. She's not leaving.
It's not your fault. It's Michelle's fault. It's okay that the cat's here.
What's
Tigger.
the cat's name?
Tigger.
Tigger?
Wonderful thing about Tigger. Yeah, she's
Alexa, play laugh support. Oh, I'm sorry. Tigger, go eat your food.
Yeah, I'm like, get away from me. She usually doesn't. But I can't even think of what we're doing.
Oh, we're talking about Rhonda and her microphone in her living room. So for our listeners, Rhonda Corey's been on our show before, and we mention her every week or every episode if we possibly can. But Rhonda has now bought a sound system, which is a really good idea to have it so that you can go and set up your own shows and those kind of things and not have to rely on somebody else.
Yes.
It's good for her. It's not good for Alex, her son, or her husband, John, where she has the sound system set up in her house and she introduces them as they enter the kitchen.
Yes.
She welcomes them to dinner for the evening. But we're having a good time watching it. Not her family, but we're having a good time.
I've laughed. I'm serious. You're going to get in trouble. Really. I'm done. I'm done talking to you. You're a fresh kitty. You're a fresh kitty. Like, look at her. She's like, come back. You want to be on TV?
Tigger, you want to go for walks? Want to go for a walk?
You want to go for a walk? Here, go sit. I know what I'll do. What you do is you throw. There we go. Yeah, I tell you the cat.
Now we're just seeing her tail past the screen. I love this cat.
My son's kitten has walked across his keyboard and there's an off switch on his keyboard and just shut his whole computer down.
Yeah.
Yes.
She's usually, it's weird. She likes voices. Yeah, Rhonda, I just left her. I called her up. I called Rhonda. It went to voicemail, and I was like laughing, go, I love that. I love it. I said the one she's in the car with Mike Murray. Ladies and gentlemen, Mike Murray.
That's the best video.
By far, it is one of the funniest videos I've seen a comic put out, without a doubt, hands down. I said, "Joe, keep going because one of them's going to go viral." It's funny. It's hysterical.
Yeah, funny is funny. I want to go back to what you said. Was it Frank?
Frank.
Yeah. He said to you, just keep your mouth shut.
Yeah.
Don't let people know how good you are. I have a mindset. I want to hear your thought of why you think he said that, but I am kind of like that in certain situations where I try to play it low key, set no expectations, because then it blows them away even more when they don't have any expectations at all. And then you get to have this moment where they're like, oh, wow, like she actually can she's really good at this, So why do you think that he had told you just to not say a word, not let people know how good you are when you got to that event?
Coming into Boston as a Boston comic, I came in, I still had the New England accent, which worked. But a lot of times people come in like, oh, I'm really good. I'm funny. Mm-hmm. I can do this. And then they go on stage and they bomb. And for him, he's like, I love it. And I think that's a philosophy in life. I do use it now. Mm-hmm. Let your actor do the talking for you. I don't need to tell you how funny I am. Give me a spot. But on the other side of the coin, it can be a deterrent because in Florida, no one really knows. Like I was hosting shows, and one of the guys, I said to him, all right, I'm going to have you host and I'm going to close out the show. And I could tell, and I'd been doing this for a few months. I had a little room here that I was booking, and this is towards the end of the season. And I could see him in the audience, and he was like, and I got off the stage, he goes, wow, you're really good. I'm like, yeah, I'm a headliner. Yeah, I wasn't, he goes, I never booked you because I thought you were just someone trying out comedy and, hosting shows. So it can be a double-edged sword, but still my philosophy is keep your mouth shut, let your act do the talking.
Yes.
That's really good.
Yeah.
Michelle tells me to keep my mouth shut all the time, but it's not followed with has nothing to do with the act. She just like to keep your mouth shut.
That's not true. That's not
Okay,
true,
Michelle.
June. I just say it in less words. That's all. Say it in less words. Minimize. Get down to my size.
Bumper sticker. I used to have a boss that would say, give it to me on a bumper sticker. And I always,
yes.
Yeah, I got to can you do me a favor?
The cat's
Listen,
fine.
I love the cat. I'm fine with the cat. The cat's not
cat.
bothering us. We can still hear you. So now for our listeners, the cat's tail is just basically making an appearance randomly in front of the camera.
It's just waving. Just like, don't
But
forget.
I looked at us a minute ago, and it has beautiful eyes. It's a beautiful kitty.
Green eyes.
So
right?
so is Tigger your laugh support right now? You said that you said now you're in this location. In all seriousness, now you're in this location. You've been accustomed to having a group of people being around. So are you?
Yeah.
How are you adjusting to that? And if you know, if someone's listening that's kind of in that, I know several comics that are making moves across country to different locations. Do you have anything right now that you think is working for you, or would be advice for people who are going through the same thing?
Honestly, faith and prayer. Literally, faith and prayer. One of the things I did when I got here, I joined a church right away. So I have a prayer group and a prayer-based people, other Christian women. But I got it as a comedian. It's a different world for us than it is for everyone else. I'm not down at the insurance agency working Monday through Friday. I'm schlepping stages and passing out business cards and trying to get people to do comedy shows. So that's what I'm doing. So, but my church is important. My other comic friends that are from Rhode Island. There's a John Parada. Someone's coming in my house, which is fine. Johnny Parada, he runs a lot of comedy in Rhode Island. Rhonda works for him too, with him. So a lot of times there's a lot of midnight calls to John Parada, Mike Cronin, who has a program called Laughter and Hope. So he, we'll reach out, we'll pray together. If I'm struggling, trying to figure out what am I doing, what's my next step. Yeah. I have no problem reaching out saying, I'm struggling today. Today I feel alone. And for the most part, I don't, because I also did find a bunch of comics here. Mm-hmm. When I was running my own little comedy show every Sunday night, we would, these people don't even know me. I don't even know if they're Christians. I have no idea. But before the shows, we'd all pray. I would bring them in and we'd stand in a circle and we'd pray. And and then from there, more comics who are Christians started popping up. And I have a little circle that I can reach out to, that I've been booking, and that are now starting to book me. So I do have, and God places the right people in front of you. Yes. And sometimes Satan does, and you have to weed them out, and you got to squish them like a bug. Yeah, definitely.
Michelle loves to squish bugs, like June bugs. That's her favorite, to squish a June bug.
Only tall Kentucky June bugs.
That's it.
Colson.
Only the tall Kentucky.
Blondes with a crown on their heads.
Yes, I love that someone just walked in your house, and I'm sure they'd be like, what?
Yeah, you're like, someone's coming to the house. No
Well, I see
problem. I'm like,
people just walk in, just
what?
walk in. Yeah, that's my
I
friend's.
lock my doors. What do you mean? You're just walking it. I
I
moved to
live
Florida.
in,
It's fine.
yeah, I live in an over 55 gated community. You got to know the code to get in.
Mm,
You know,
mm,
when people go,
Oh,
"Can I come see you?" I go, "What's the code?"
mm. So we can
Yes.
narrow down who murders her. That's what we can do. Basically,
that's
it's
what
going
I'm
to be a
hearing.
smaller list of people that would
People that need to
I would put my money on the cat.
That's
That's what I'm saying. I
Yep.
would guess it's the kitty cat.
yeah, the kitty
He's
cat.
great.
She left. As
So,
soon as she came in, she took off.
So, Mary Ellen, as far as, I mean, we've heard a couple pieces of advice that you've been given, but is there anything that you can think of that maybe someone shared with you at a certain point that you've held onto
Onto.
throughout that said, this is a piece of advice that I'm glad someone gave me, and I would tell someone else in a minute to do this if they were in comedy?
Well, there's a couple of things. That's a double answer. The first thing was the pastor of my church when she said, "Don't ever embarrass me. Don't
Yeah.
hurt anyone, because that's not what your gift is for." And the second one was when we were at CCA, because my entire life I used to see myself on stage at a church. I always did. Growing up, I could always see myself there. I never knew what it was. And then when I went to the retreat, all of a sudden he spoke to my heart and said, "This is what I mean." It's not, because I'd say, "I'm being a church." First of all, I'm not good with the Bible. I don't know the big words. I never remember the verses. You know, someone can quote verses.
Yes.
I'm like, well, I'm going to paraphrase it. I understand it. But it's like, especially today, we were given a gift to make people laugh. And comedians are responsible for opening rooms and bringing more comedy, because the world is so broken. Comedy is the only thing in this world that has no prejudice. It doesn't matter if you're male or female or black or white or young or old or anything. If you make people laugh, you're healing a little bit of the world at a time. And when I was at CCA, and I don't even know who was speaking, but it was just like, I went, oh, it's not about being famous. It's not about me up there preaching, because I'd be like, what am I can't preach. I'm not. I have a very difficult time as a Christian to say to someone, you know, Jesus told me this, or God wants me to tell you. I do.
Yes.
I really struggle with it, because I want them to go, we know your past.
Yes.
You know, what is this? But I realized at that point that it wasn't about being famous. It's not about being the most popular or having the best TV shows. It's about one at a time bringing something to the people that are broken or hurt, so they can sit and laugh for an hour or an hour and a half and walk out and say, "Thank you. You have no idea how much this means to me." You have, now my friend Cindy's going, yes, yes. Yeah. Like, amen, amen. And I think that, and as I'm saying it, we talked a little earlier, like, you know, I struggle. And when I sit on that and I go, you know what? God gave you this talent. God can take it away. But God gave you this talent. He wants you to continue. So whoever is blocking you, just know that the Lord will move him and you will keep going, or will move her and you will keep moving forward. And it's not about the money anymore. It's, of course, trust me, I look good rich. I don't look good
Yes.
poor.
Oh, yeah. Oh, yeah. Well, look at me and my sparkles. I'm all about it. I'm all about it.
There is a business end to this, and there definitely is a business side of this that I pay attention to. But in the long run, I know in my heart of hearts, this is what I'm meant to do. It's what I'm going to do. And, you know, I look at it and go, I'll go around, I'll go up, I'll go around, I'll get through it. And next show, you know, next show, next person. And even if I'm standing in line and talk to someone and come out with something and make them laugh, I go, thank you, God. This is, it's not mine. And for a long time in the beginning, I used to think it was mine. When I first started comedy, I was, I didn't really have that piece attached to who I am. It was more, it's about me. I'm good. I'm going to make it. I'm going to be a superstar. And then when I left, that's when God said, oh, we got to fix this. Hold on. Let me wash you and wring you out and just make your blood. Oh, okay. Now here's the reason you're doing it. I'm like, oh, I see now. You know, you ask for patience and he'll make sure he gives you such a struggle so you learn patience.
Mm.
So, yeah. Be
Yeah.
careful.
So many people ask for that. Oh, I want patience. I want, here's more problems.
Mhm.
Here's more
It's more
problems. Go stand in
yeah.
this line.
Humility,
Yeah.
make me humble. He did. He made me humble.
Wow.
You know, there's a side of it. One of the times I quit was because there was a crisis in my family, and I had to take on 4 children. And whoo, children will make you humble.
Yes, they will.
They didn't care. It was funny. They wasn't interested in my
Mhm.
headshots or my promo
Nope.
or I'm supposed to be at Nick's or I got to travel. No, they were like, you need to be here now, present and accountable.
Mm.
That's good.
Which is not a bad idea, just period. Kids or no kids, making sure that you do have somebody in your life that helps keep you grounded and humble, regardless of it, you know, and just having that focus on keeping the main thing, because we can get so wrapped up in our value is in how funny we are, or our value is in if we pack out the room, and then we devalue the people who are sitting in our audience because there's not enough of them. Oh, well, you're only valuable in this room if there's 150 of you, but not the 2 people who happen to show up, you know? And we can get so wrapped up in that. I've watched Michele. Michele is the queen of just making funny wherever she goes, of making, you know, if it's possible to make the cashier at Walmart smile, or the person pumping gas beside her giggle, or even hold hostage people at the Grand Canyon who didn't ask for comedy, but because they're there decided you all are going to listen to what I do.
While you sit there and catch your breath, listen to me.
On this day, I do it. I had to call Microsoft. I had a problem with my account and it went from one to another to another. And I'm on the phone for probably an hour. And as I'm doing, I'm taking my notes and I'm figuring out what I'm doing. So we get to tech support. And I said, you know, first customer service goes, okay, we get your problem. We're going to connect you to Susie to make sure that the account is good. All right, next we went to another level of customer support. Then we go to tech support. And tech support, she's like, your name? Okay, here's your number. We'll call you back within now to 24 hours. I'm like, wow. Like it was complete stuff. Tech support. All right, done. 2 minutes later, the phone rings and it's tech support. And I said, oh, I got it figured out. Oh, you're not going to call back the people you don't like right away. You got to call back the people you like. And the guy starts laughing. I said, oh, you figure your own problem out. And he's laughing. By the time we were done, because now it's pretty much an easy fix. And he said to me, you made my day, Mary. I said, you know what? That's what I'm supposed to do. I said, I'm a comedian. You know, you can go to my YouTube channel anytime you want and log on. I said that, and he kind of said to me, he's like, yeah, we, you know, you're hot and you're mad. We're not talking to you.
Yes.
and you know, and I try to do that when someone calls, or if I have to call into customer service for anything, I try to go, all right, listen, this one's going to be fun, you know, because I don't call if I'm mad. I won't make that phone call if I'm struggling. I'm like, I can't do it. I wait. I'm going to call them when I'm nice, because if you're nice, they're going to talk to you.
Yeah.
You know, I used to work in customer support, and I'd say to them, the louder you get, the stupider I'm going to get. So if I were you, I'd get quiet, because you need me. I used to say that all the time. The louder you get, the stupider I'm getting.
Again, things that Michele say to me all the time.
Wait, are you just saying I say stupid things? Wait, June, that was
me,
so
the louder
mean.
I get, the dumber.
Yeah.
There goes those blonde jokes.
Blonde jokes.
There it is. There it is. Well, Michele, what do you think about it, sis?
Okay, so I have a couple of questions, Mary Ellen. I want to know, one, have you written a book?
No, I want to. I'm terrible.
I'll read it, and then my kids will read it, and that's why you have to also read it on YouTube so we can watch it, and you know, because that be very important.
Like one of the things I would like to write about, if I do, I'm first of all, right now I'm building this business and I'm overwhelmed. It's like sometimes you're like, people like, I go, I'm still working on the material, But if I do get to a point, I would like to write about the 5 years with the 4 children, about
Yes.
Yeah.
how it changed me.
Yeah.
But
That'd be
I want
good.
to make it funny and poignant and good.
Yes.
And I do. I write all the time. I literally
Mm.
write. Like if I'm home, I write. I have journals, and they're all in my computer, and it's literally just pulling it together. And I know everyone says, a book. I go, as soon as I really know I'm going to be pretty on that picture. No, I'm only kidding.
Yeah. Yeah.
But
With your
it's-
skirt.
there's so many, and I right now I'm more. I know I need to do it. I know I need to do it, but I'm just not ready.
Yeah. And when you're ready, gotta let you know. And the thing is that we are storytellers. That's what comedy is. We get to share these stories, but when you're on stage, we're sharing the funny.
That's
And
true.
a lot of times we're not able to share like the experience that you had with the children. You're not the only person who's gone through that. But the thing is, a lot of times people feel like they were the only person who went through it. And so when there's something written that they can relate to and they can find humor and they can see the healing and the struggles and the ups and the downs that you went through, that can be huge. That can really touch hearts. And sometimes, as Cindy said, who's going to be reading this book? You know, I've been writing for quite a while. And at one point I asked God that question and he said, what's it matter? This is between you and me. And I can tell you writing has been healing. It's helped me with forgiveness. It's helped me with processing some things that I didn't even know was still there. And so I think book, no book, whatever, what you're doing through comedy right now, you know, it's take each day, one day at a time. Right. And when you get there, you'll get there. But in the in between, keep doing what you're doing, Mary Ellen. Keep making people laugh. You bring a joy to people's lives. Obviously, it's something that broke down walls for your neighbor, who has admittedly said that she doesn't let anybody and everybody in their life. But there's something about you. And I truly believe it's that spirit of joy and comedy that's in you that makes people want to be close to you. Don't you think, Michelle?
Absolutely.
Right back to you too. It's not just I feel that way with you. When I met you both, first of all, I met Michelle through what's her name?
Rena.
What's that? Rena? What's that card? There it
Oh,
is.
there it is.
Rhonda Corey comedy.
Rhonda Corey. Rhonda Colson Corey.
And I'll tell you, when I met her through you and I met her through you, you know, like attracts like, and I feel that way with you. When I went to that event, I felt so comfortable being there. I felt, you know, I've been in secular comedy clubs with secular comedians who, right before you go on stage, decide to claw at you. And you're like, whoa, that was mean. That was mean. But to be in a room with a bunch of comedians who are all encouraging, because I always believe Carrie Louise Carter, who was huge today, was my opening act. And when my going away party, she came out from New York to go to my going away party to get up and say, here's a woman that has always encouraged other women, who's always been helpful and opened the doors for so many women. And that was the good thing when I went back to comedy, because I was always like, sure, if you're funnier than me, I like it even better.
Yes.
What? You're going to help me. And the better you are, the better we all are. Together we rise. Together. I don't ever get jealous of other. I have in the past. I've looked and went, you know. Let me tell you, Rhonda Corey with that microphone bit, I was like, I love it. But you know, it's really good. But I think that if we all know that it's a gift from God, He controls it, He manages it, He puts the people in our lives, and all we need to do is walk and shine. Like literally go walk and shine. And you know, I do have tons of new material and a whole new life to go. It's my time. It's only me now. I don't have to worry about raising kids. I don't have to worry about anybody else. That now it's my turn.
Wow.
Yeah.
Well, man, that's a great way to wrap this episode of the Laugh Support up. Just walk and shine. I absolutely love it. Mary Ellen, we so appreciate you being on the show. Friends, if you want to check Mary Ellen out, you can go to MaryEllenDePetrillo.com. That's DePetrillo.com on Facebook, and Mary Ellen DePetrillo Comedy. Yeah, and so what we want you guys to do is definitely follow Mary Ellen, watch her YouTube videos, and if you want to see the kitty cat and all of the things that were happening, my amazing gown, and the fun that we've had on here today, you can actually watch this podcast as well as listen to it on all of the podcast platforms. You can watch us on the Creative Motion Network on Roku TV. You can see us on YouTube and on Vimeo. So Mary Ellen, thank you so much for being here today. We're going to scoot you to the green room again. Michelle and I are going to wrap this episode up, but don't go away. We'll give you a proper goodbye. All right, Michele VanDusen, this is why I love this show. You never know what's going to happen. You didn't know that I was going to do the quick change into the ball gown and that we were going to have a professional ballroom dancer make an appearance. We had a kitty cat. We've talked about singles swim club. This has been a little bit of everything. And you never know what you're going to get on the Laugh Support podcast. I absolutely
fun.
love it. This was fun. All right, y'all. That's it for this episode of the Laugh Support Podcast. As always, Jesus and Junebug loves you. Michelle, tell us something good before we leave.
It might sound strange, but mice actually live longer in labs than they do in the wild. Thanks for listening. Have a good one.